So what's good, TMG fam? It's your boy L, and I'm back with another reaction, man. I hope everybody's doing good. I hope y'all are good out there and being safe and secure. But we back with another one of these crime stories, man. This one here is Neil. I ain't saying his last name because I know I'm gonna jack it up. But this is Neil's horrible crime and terrible cover-up. All right, I told y'all, man, I cut the news on the other night. I had to turn around and cut it right back off just from all of the death and the murder. It's just death and murder, but all of the tragic stuff going on, man. It's just like, man, I need to protect my peace and energy, but at the same time, I still need to know what's going on. So trying to find that balance is tough. It's real tough for me. So we're gonna check this video out. If you're new, hit the subscribe button, man. Appreciate each and every one of y'all. Let's acknowledge these haters. We're gonna give the haters a real quick moment of silence, man. That's enough. Now run the likes up. Make sure y'all hit that like button and leave a comment. Let's go.
Hey you, and welcome. My name is Mike, and in this old video, we're gonna talk about the man with a plan. A bad one. But no matter what, and through it all, he remained the incomparable Neil Entwistle. To be fair, he's quite comparable. Him and I would have very different comparisons. Brit Neil moved to Massachusetts and set up shop there, shop being family. And one day he decided to close up shop. So, shit, let's give it a go. The town of...
Did anybody else see him smiling right there? Did that kind of piss y'all off too? Just making sure, because it really did me after seeing this title.
Hopkinton is where we're popping off to today in eastern Massachusetts. Hopkinton is like many of these small towns we see again and again and maybe even again. About 17,000 people live there. It's where the Boston Marathon begins. Although another way to put it might be that people run out of the town in droves. More than anything though, the town is known for being really safe, you know, that way. Rarely any murders, and if there was one, the people there, the police, they wouldn't even know what to do with it. So if you're gonna do something, do it there. Legally, that was a joke. And it was there that, in mid-January 2006, the Entwistle family moved. Made up of Neil, Rachel, both 27 years old, and their 9-month-old daughter, Lillian. It was 10 days after that move that Rachel's parents, Joseph and Priscilla, and also Rachel's friend, Joanna, called the Hopkinton police. They were asking the police to, pop the head in. They hadn't seen or heard from any of the Entwistles, and they were starting to get a little bit worried. See, Rachel was due to have her parents and her friend Joanna over around that weekend, right? Housewarming, they had just moved into this place. But when everybody arrived, things seemed ominously quiet. The Entwistles had recently moved from the UK, from Worcestershire, I think. They had been living with Rachel's parents for a time, and then found their own place at 6 Cubs Path, Hopkinton. And so it was on the 21st of January 2006 that a police sergeant, he went into the Entwistle home, having a go. The house was dark, and as he wandered around, he found no one. Weird. Snow was building up outside, and the TV was on. Classical music was playing in baby Lillian's room. They used it to help her sleep. The car, they had a white BMW SUV. It was gone. One of the few lights left on in the house was the light in the master bedroom. So, this cop, he popped the head in. And what he saw was... messy bed. Jesus. In the center of the bedroom was a large bed, and there was a shitload of bedding, blankets, all that in a big bundle on top. But other than that, nothing seemed amiss, so he was like, alright, he left the house, where are they? And they left it at that. Then the next day, with still no word from any of the Entwistles, they actually filed a formal police report. Cops went back. There was still no word from the young family of 3. And so, this officer, he popped back in again at 6 Cubs Path. And this time, as he walked around, he noticed a foul odor in the house. It was getting worse as he went up each step. Then he ventured once again into the master bedroom. This time, he saw a watch, a woman's watch on the floor that he hadn't seen before, but before he just poked the head in. This time he properly went into that bedroom and lifted the duvet. Saw a foot. Discovered in that bed were the bodies of Rachel and Lillian Entwistle, deceased. At first, due to the way they had been found, it was thought it could have been,
Why he killed the baby? You gotta be a sick individual to kill a baby, bro. Your own baby, though. Like, am I missing? Like, how? Like, I couldn't even fathom. I can't fathom killing, period. And even your own kid, though.
They were victims of carbon monoxide poisoning. Honestly, the police didn't think there was any foul play involved at all, that story. Then, when in the medical examiner's office, it was revealed they had been shot. They had been murdered. A frantic search began throughout the house, trying to find the last missing family member. But Neil Entwistle, he was nowhere to be found. The Entwistle family, or rather this variation of it, began all the way back in 1999 at the University of York in England. Neil was born in Nottingham and Rachel Souza was from Carver, Massachusetts, and they were both studying at the University of York. Neil was the son of a former miner turned storeman and school cook. He was a computer genius, so it was only expected that he would, at the University of York, study electronic engineering and business management. Rachel was there studying English literature as an overseas student, and it was as part of the rowing club that love blossomed. Rachel was only there for the 1 year, but once she graduated in late summer 2001, she was immediately back to York. They were mad about each other. And so 2 years later, they married in Plymouth, Massachusetts. From there, the pair settled in this nice little flat in Worcestershire. Neil, he started working at the defense company, Kinetic, working on top secret bombs and all that shit. He was there at their office in Malvern. Rachel, she began teaching English and drama at a school in Redditch. It was 2 years after their marriage, in 2005, that Neil and Rachel...
See, I'm allergic to murder. Ugh. That sneeze about killed me right there. I'm allergic to these murderous fools.
Entwistle welcomed the birth of a baby, Lillian Rose Entwistle, and there were smiles all around. As time went by, Rachel, she's...
Like, that picture alone pisses me off. This picture here just pisses me off, bro. Child was innocent. The mom was innocent, fam, and you killed them? But then you want to lay up around the kid like you really loved it, but you didn't? Like, that pisses me off right
Smiles all around. As time went by, Rachel, she started to become a little homesick. She missed America, she missed her parents, and her parents missed their grandchild. So in 2005, the same year that Lillian was born, 2 months after she was born, they decided to up sticks and go to USA all the way. They moved in with their parents for a time before finally finding the beautiful, stately home at 6 Cubs Path, a home that cost $2,700 a month to go along with their $400 a month big BMW SUV. Their house had 4 bedrooms, a jacuzzi, and it all had to be furnished. Something Neil had no problem with, even though he was unemployed at the time. He hadn't found a new job since moving to the States, and although he was on the hunt, setting up interviews, he was still splashing out, spared no expense. And so on the 21st of January, Rachel, decided to have a little housewarming, parents over, friend over, show off the house, show off the kid. However, when the guests arrived, they found a darkened home, disconcertingly so, and called the cops. It was the second sweep of the house that led to the grim discovery Rachel and Lillian under the covers, both shot to death. But where was Neil?
Hello?
Hello?
Hello.
Hi, is this Neil?
It is, yes.
Neil, this is, my name is Bob Manning. I'm a trooper with the Massachusetts State Police.
Hi.
How are you?
Well,
I'm calling you because we had some bad news from over here.
yeah.
And, we have some bad news about your wife and your daughter.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you serious? Bro, this one ain't good for me.
we responded to the house and that they're deceased.
Yeah.
Do you know that?
I did.
You did?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
And so, it was on Monday, January 23rd, 2006, the day after the bodies of Rachel and Lillian were discovered, that a Massachusetts state trooper called the home of Neil's parents in Worksop, UK. They spoke to Neil, who had quite the reaction. Or lack of it.
Sorry to tell you about your wife and your daughter.
Thank you.
Okay. Can you talk to me a little bit and tell me how you do that?
Yes. Yeah.
It didn't take long for the police to find out where Neil was, or rather, where he had been. The police were easily able to trace, that he had flown out of Boston's Logan Airport back to the UK, and, well, you quick calls around there to anybody he knew, any places he would be. And, Neil's dad, Clifford, he called and he was like, yeah, he's here. When the police phoned him, beginning what would be a two-hour conversation, Neil, he sort of explained what happened in a real, shit happens, sort of way. He said the Friday morning, the 20th, so the day before the family were reported missing, he had popped out that morning to buy some computer shit. When he came back, he found Rachel and Lillian dead. It was a murder-suicide.
I walked in, I called out to them. There was no reply. I thought maybe they were, I couldn't hear the shower, but I thought maybe in the bathroom or something, so I just got a few things together downstairs, and that's when I found them.
Neil was so distraught at this. He went down, he grabbed a knife so he could follow his wife and daughter. But then he was like, I'll be kind of sore though. I know.
I knew that Joe has guns in the house. I thought maybe I could, finish, kind of get myself, that way.
Joe, Rachel's dad, well, he kind of would take Neil shooting sometimes, and he has a gun, a cowboy gun. It's pretty cool, it's like a revolver. I'll just do it that way. Probably should go over there and tell them that their daughter and granddaughter's dead too. Might be an idea. They'll find out eventually. So he went there, he drove over to Carver, but they weren't there, so, dang. So instead, he withdrew $800, drove to Boston's Logan Airport, slept in his BMW, and then the next morning, he got a flight to the UK.
Somebody make any of that make sense to me, please. Please. That sounds like that sounds like the dumbest thing I've ever heard. The dumbest thing I've ever heard. The dumbest sequence of events I've ever heard, bro. Who do you think you talking to? Who do you think you fooling? Get out of here, man.
The only thing he could think of doing was being back home with his parents. He needed to be tucked in.
I know this is difficult, and I appreciate you talking.
No, the state that I'm in at the moment is just, I just couldn't get it clear in my head to do it. It's such a relief to be able to actually talk to people about this.
So he said what happened was that his wife killed their baby girl, then herself. But he was so distraught, he didn't tell anyone. He didn't call 911. He debated, offing himself, but then he was like, fuck that. And then he fled the country. Okay.
I've not done the right thing in what I've done here.
You what?
Bro, it's certain people that think they're smarter than everybody else. And I swear I'm getting that feeling from this dude because he obviously think we're dummies. He thinks people are stupid. He obviously thinks he's the smartest person on the planet. Because who's going to believe that story? No one.
I don't feel that I've done the right thing that I've done here by not letting, by not being the one to call and say what has happened.
Oh shit.
I haven't even cried yet.
You haven't even cried?
No. Not properly.
No?
No.
What would properly be? Usually, my experience is not really a proper way in a situation like this. Things just happen.
Yeah. I mean, that is what he did. No, I shed a few tears, Martin.
I can tell you, I have a hard time understanding why you didn't call 911.
Yeah, I can see that. I don't.
What a strange reaction. Now, I'm not saying Neil had anything to do with it. Because I don't have to say that. So while Neil was in Old England, in the new one, the investigation was ratcheting up. The BMW Neil's car was found at Logan Airport, locked, but Neil's DNA was found on a water bottle inside. The house at Cubs Path was now a crime scene. Computer history searched, forensics, the whole 9 yards. And it didn't take long for the police to find out some weird things about old Neil. Maybe he had a secret life. Proof, following on from the odd things that Rachel's parents had been saying about him. For one thing, they didn't really know what he did. He had previously worked for Kinetic, and now he just did computers, something computers, blah blah blah. But he said he always had an income, but they never really knew where it was. Even when he moved to America, he was splashing out left and right. Money, money, money. That struck them as odd, especially with the house was like, it's a, big, expensive house. Technically, he did have a job. If you count being a scam artist. A job.
Yeah, I did.
Neil had been working on a variety of grifts since about 2003, Hey there, sucker. You want to be a millionaire? In this opportunity, you cannot fail. Listen up. One business was...
Oh, this guy just, oh my God. Murderer, scammer. What doesn't he do? Huh? What isn't he into?
Was millionmaker.co.uk. If you are stupid enough to fall for this, don't let the .co.uk put you off. You can partake in this from anywhere in the world. Neil didn't just aim for British suckers. It's simply for tax reasons. This is a huge scam. I know, right? Hard to believe with testimonials like these. Nothing to be skeptical about. We checked everything out. It's a great opportunity. And that's from a private investigator. So he'd know what he was on about. Another was Big Penis Manual. That's their flagship product. He'd also scam the shit out of people on eBay, sell non-existent products. It was a lot easier to do back, 15 years ago. He was also 30 grand in the hole in debt. And out of his 18 credit cards, only one wasn't maxed out. He was also mad into online dating, swinging, escorts, all that sort of stuff. He had this entirely secret life that nobody knew about, least of all Rachel. His profile picture was this. Apparently that guy's dick is huge, but if it's actually Neil or not remains unknown.
Finish myself.
Though obviously if that person did have a big undercarriage, it's clearly not Neil. So there was Neil, and then there was Dirtbag Neil. It was discovered in his search history that on the 16th and 17th of January 2006, Neil had been looking up best way to kill someone and knife in neck kill, and also quick suicide method.
Case dismissed. Case dismissed. It's over with. Not meaning case dismissed, meaning throw it out. I mean, open shut case. Let me not confuse y'all like they going through. No. That should be enough evidence right there to. But let's get enough for the death penalty, because that picture of him laying with the baby still pisses me off. So he needs to get everything.
Would you like to say something about your family, Neil?
It was on the 9th of February 2006, a week after Rachel and Lillian were buried in a single coffin, that Neil was arrested by Scotland Yard at the Royal Oak Tube Station in London for the double homicide. He was extradited back to the United States a week later. He pleaded not guilty. It was in June 2008 that Neil Entwistle would stand trial for the murders of Rachel and Lillian. Hard to get a more punchable face than that.
You're also going to learn, ladies and gentlemen.
Bro, this fool is sitting in the courtroom laughing, and then y'all want to know why I'm suggesting the death penalty? Why? This fool is sitting. Back it up real quick. Like Juvenile said. You know how Juvenile song go? Back that thing up. Back it up. Back it up real quick. This fool is laughing. Laughing, mind you. Look at him.
Hard to get a more punchable face than that.
You're also going to learn, ladies and gentlemen.
See, that's why they should let the family members tee off on him.
That on the 31st of January, 1st of February, the wake of Rachel and Lillian were held and funeral, and the defendant did not attend. He sent flowers. You will learn, ladies and gentlemen, that there was a conversation on February 7th, a phone message and a phone conversation between the defendant and the attorney representing the homeowners, where the defendant essentially says, I give up all interest in anything in that home at 6 Cubs Path. You will learn that the next day, the defendant met some friends over in the UK. Then prior, Dash Monday, had dinner with them. And he told them somewhat the same story, at least initially, as he had told Joe Matarazzo, as he had told Trooper Manning. But it varies a little bit in a significant way. He tells his friends over in the UK that he had gone to Carver to get a gun, but then came to his senses, that he found Priscilla, told Priscilla what had happened and his discovery of the bodies, gone back to the Carver home and consoled each other, that he had spoken to the police and gave a statement to the police. He had a clipping from a local newspaper for escort and sexual services. And he had a notepad with notes on one side that talked about his claimed deep loss of love for Rachel and Lily, and on the other side, about how he wants to sell his story to the highest bidder.
On January 20, 2006, Neil Entwistle's world changed, never to be the same. Neil's life changed, also never to be the same. Neil loved his wife, and Neil loved his daughter. On January 20th, he lost them both.
Lawyers are starting to piss me off. How you represent somebody like that? How? How in your good? How can you sleep at night representing somebody like that? The facts is the facts. The evidence is the evidence. You see everything. It's laid out for you. And you still represent this dude? Get out of here, man. Like, I don't, morally. And I know people don't have morals these days. And that's probably what's pissing me off. But morally, how can you represent somebody like that?
Everything that he said and everything that he did thereafter He did because he loved them. He did because he loved them both.
The prosecution set out to portray Neil as a broke, sexual deviant who just wanted his family just gone. The murder weapon was believed to be the .22 revolver, Joe, Rachel's dad, his gun. That's the caliber of bullet they were killed with, and Neil's DNA was found on the trigger, as was Rachel's on the muzzle. They said he was a get-rich-quick scammer addicted to sex with random women, simple as. The day of the murders, Neil had withdrawn $800, tried to take out more before fleeing the country. And the fact that, if it was true, if his story was true, the fact that he didn't alert anybody. Friends of Neil's he met with back in the UK, they told the court that even on the day he was arrested, he had tried to dodge the police, asking for their help.
I told Neil that I had received a phone call from the police that they were looking to pick him up in London, and I suggested that he could accompany me back down to the pavement outside the tube station where the police had requested that I meet them.
When you told them that, what did the defendant say?
The defendant said, Neil said that he didn't want to talk to the police here, that he'd rather return home, and he asked whether there was some other way of getting off the platform.
And what did you say?
I said that you could leave the station on a train or down the stairs.
And then what did you do, sir?
I left Neil on the platform and I walked down to the pavement.
When you got outside, did you see anybody?
After a few moments, the police arrived.
Did you speak to the police?
Did.
How many police arrived?
3.
And most of all, he buried himself, with his own words.
I haven't even cried yet.
You haven't even cried?
No, not properly. I shed a few tears, Martin.
The defense stayed with the murder-suicide scenario. Rachel had...
Bro, I swear I want to just... man. I want to knock that smirk off his face. I swear I do, bro.
Killed her child, then herself, with her dad's gun. That perhaps she suffered from postpartum depression and was lonely back in America. Now, though, with their scenario, right, the gun, right? If she did use it on her kid and then herself, shouldn't the gun have been found at the crime scene? Well, Neil changed his story. Remember he said after he found them, he wanted to drive over to her parents' house and get that gun and, use it on himself.
I knew that Joe has guns in the house. I thought maybe I could, finish.
Well, now he said he found the gun beside his dead wife, and to protect her reputation, he did drive over there and left it back where it belonged. Rachel, she was quite religious, she was quite Catholic, and so there would be some stigma about suicide. Then, this loving and doting husband, he was so upset and confused, he went back to England and yada yada yada. The verdict was what you would expect it to be.
Foreperson of the jury in the case of the Commonwealth versus Neil Entwistle on indictment number 2006-387-001, charging the defendant with murder in the first degree. What say you, foreperson? Is the defendant guilty or not guilty?
Guilty of murder in the first degree of Rachel Entwistle.
On indictment number 2006-387-002, charging the defendant with murder in the first degree. What say you, foreperson? Is the defendant guilty or not guilty?
Guilty of murder in the first degree of Lillian Entwistle.
On indictment number 2006-387-003, charging the defendant with possession of a firearm. What say you, foreperson?
Neil's parents disagreed, and they continue to do so to this day.
I wish to make the following statement.
We know that our son Neil is innocent, and we are devastated to learn that the evidence points to Rachel murdering our grandchild and then committing suicide. I knew Rachel was depressed. Our son will now go to jail for loving, honouring and protecting his wife's memory.
we knew Neil would not receive a fair trial. We will continue to fight for our innocent son with the hope that one day justice will prevail.
Jury has found the defendant guilty of the first-degree murders of Rachel Entwistle and Lillian Entwistle. These crimes are incomprehensible. They defy comprehension because they involve the planned and deliberate murders of the defendant's wife and 9-month-old child in violation of bonds that we recognize as central to our identity of human beings.
Neil was sentenced to life in prison. Well, 2 lives in prison, no parole, for the murder of Rachel and Lillian.
Oh, where's the smile now? Where's the laugh and the smile now?
Since being in prison, a number of threats have been made on his life. None successful. And that's it. It's an odd one.
It's an emotional one for us, y'all. Let me see if he got something else to say real quick.
For the story of Neil Entwistle and what he did, it's like Chris Watts all over again. He did a piss poor job. Really piss poor job of trying to pass the book on to his wife. I mean, did he really think people would believe he was so distraught he would just leave the country and not tell anybody he discovered what he said he discovered? And then the phone call, he's like, oh yeah, I guess I should be kind of sad, huh? The only time he showed emotion was when, during the trial, crime scene videos were displayed. Though it's also like he's kind of laughing. I'm mostly crying though. And probably not really over their deaths.
Was that a cry?
But more so the death of any future he will ever have.
Man, I don't believe that was a cry. I thought that was a laugh, and I will continue to think that was a laugh for that sick individual, man. 9-month-old baby is no longer here because of what? You. I don't feel sorry, and I won't. Nope. Will sleep comfortably in my bed, on my pillow tonight. How about y'all? Y'all get at me in the comment section, man. Until the next reaction of my piece, y'all stay solid. Hey.